Adam here, Blackfyre Productions, and today I am bringing you one of my hobby videos to sort of keep you in the loop as to what I'm doing in the hobby and a current project that I'm working on. So not that long ago, well maybe a little while ago, I actually received from Kiwi one of their battle boards. It's a city style board, all MDF that you put together, and it can be slotted together, and it is your play surface for, well in my case, Marvel Crisis Protocol. But it could be used for any other current genre style game, so things like The Walking Dead, you have your Batman miniature game, and other games along those lines. It could even be used for historical games as well that are sort of set in like a World War II type settings, or in a cityscape. Some of the battles, but so I've quickly, like for the last while, I haven't had the really the drive to do it until I guess it would have been yesterday. It's like, well, I'm gonna get this done. So I quickly started putting some of these boards together. So I think I got something like 12 separate boards or tiles for it, and so I started throwing them together yesterday, and then I even primed one to then start practicing the techniques that I'm going to be using to sort of paint them and such. So I thought, why not show you guys the work that I'm putting into it, and show off the boards as they progress. So currently, I'll show you one. This is one of the tiles that I've built yesterday. So basically it's a subway entrance. It has a Marvel Station A1 down there, and then like signs on the side that say Subway and everything else. You have your sidewalks off to the side, and then printed into the wood. The road section is like your sewer drains, as well as your manhole covers, stuff like that. But so you can, I'll show you closer up, but like it's a foot by 12 inches by 12 inches, and they do have some slots here. So, but yeah, so let's bring you guys closer to the product, I guess, and show you what these tiles are all about. I'll even put one together for you as quickly, so that way you can see how easy it is. Alright guys, diving right into these battle board tiles. So I'm going to show you the finished product as of right now, and then I'll go from the finished product and I'll build one for you momentarily. So you have multiple different styles of tiles that you can use in this setup. So you have pieces like this, which are the straight road tiles, and quite literally you have a road piece that goes across center, and then you glue, like once you get the frame on here, you put the frame together, you then put your center road piece tile here, which I'm not sure exactly what I want to do with this. I'm not sure if I want to do like sandpaper over this, or maybe just sort of texturize it myself, or leave it like this and then paint like the sewer drains as well as the manhole cover. I'm not sure, but then you have the sidewalks off to the side. What's really cool with the sidewalks is they do have all the cracks and everything in there, not just on top but also in the side, everything and whatnot. So yeah, so you got the straight road piece. You have the T-junction as well. So the T-junction is quite simply the exact same thing, T-junction. So that's what it looks like on the bottom there. So you can see that you glue the centerpiece down, and then the sidewalks off to the side. You have a J-junction, or a corner piece as well for your road. So there's multiple different styles of roads that you can lay out as well. You then have your concrete pad, which is literally just like it's rectangles and squares on there, and you just painted up your concrete color, whatever you're using. I'll be doing a mix of grays. I was thinking about maybe adding some blues into it, but I think I'm going to stick with the grays. So, and then this is where your buildings or other things can go that you would find in a city. After that, you also have the center park. So the center park is pretty cool as well. This comes with a well. I'm just grabbing it. So this comes with a well when you pop it out and you build the well together. And there was a fountain in the center, but silly me, I dropped it already and the fountain snapped. So I'm just going to do a fountain like that in the center. Or the trees that I have actually would fit quite nicely as well if I wanted to do like a sort of like tree section, something like that. So that way it's like it's a tree in the center of the park. So when you build this, you have your centerpiece and then these small pieces as well. So I'm going to do a ground covering like sand or soil in there, and then put some static grass over top as well. And yeah, so I could either put the fountain in the center like so, which with the fountain what I'm going to do is I'm going to do some water effects down here as well. So that way it looks like there's water in the fountain. But yeah, so that's the center park, and then the last one that you have also is a base. It's similar to the straight road, but what it is the subway piece as well. So again, you have your straight road piece, but then you can also see all the way down. You have your stairs that go in there and everything. So, which is pretty cool. I also made a mistake here, and I glued the subway down, which I shouldn't have. I should have left the frame here, which the fencing goes into, separate, so that way when I'm playing Marvel, people could pick it up and chuck it at people, at their enemies, but I glued it down, so you just aren't going to be able to interact with it when I get on this board. And I know some of you might be asking, why did I get a board, a 3D board, when I have mats galore coming out that I can use for my battlefields and stuff like that? Well, for me, what the draw is to this is that 3D depth, and it gives you a sense of realism, especially when you get it all painted up. And like my idea is to get it painted up, but then add a whole bunch of like textures and stuff like that to it. So it adds to the realism of the board. And for me, when I'm doing a game, and I enjoy playing it narratively and stuff like that, I think the board tells as much as the story as the characters and the lead up to it and stuff like that. So you know, not having a nice looking board really, I think, hampers the playstyle or takes away from the playstyle. And I definitely think when I'm doing battle reports, if I'm not playing on a nice looking board, it takes away from the battle reports as well. So I like the 3D depth of this, and the fact that I can change it to whatever I want based off of, I think I have like 3 or 4 3 straight road sections, the 2 corner pieces, and the T piece. So like I got a ton of road selections, so I can lay out the roads however I want. And then when you factor in like that center park and everything, it allows me to give it more creativity, or use it more creatively, and it's dynamic in the sense that you can change it up every game. So it's pretty sweet that way. So let's just grab 2 of these quickly. Let's say these here. So that's your concrete slab, and then your straight road piece with the subway. In each pack, you get one of these neat little tokens. So what these are is you just pop them out from there, and these are your things that will you hook onto your tiles, so they hold them together. Now, I will say that I don't think you can, once they're connected, get together, unless you're going to glue them together, which I would not do. It defeats the purpose of these battle boards, in my opinion. I wouldn't pick them up and sort of like hold them upside, sideways or anything, just because they hold well. It holds them well enough together when they're flat on a surface, but upwards they're just going to fall off and such. So all you do, or at least what I've been doing with them when playing around with it, you take this sort of like U shape here, and you insert it into the slot that's on the side there, right? So you just insert it, and then just lay it back down, and then you take the other one, and you just sort of put it over top, just like so. So that way they're held together by that, and then obviously each side of the board has those slots as well. So, and that's what I mean by like it's gonna fall apart, but like each of those sides have a slot as well. So they're all over there. So you basically just hook it up, hook them in as needed, and away you go. And that's how you do the boards. But yeah, so no, I'm looking forward to getting these done now that I'm actually doing it and got that drive into me, and it's going to be a very good project. It's going to be a lengthy project, because I have something like 11 or 12 tiles. Your standard packs, you can buy tiles, I believe, individually online, as well as like in packs of like 2x2 or 3x3. And so I ended up having more than 3x3 sent to me, so it gives me that much more sort of modularity in what I'm doing, and I guess that's what really these tiles are about, is how modular they are. But yeah, so with that said, I guess I'll put these away, clear off this mat that I have on my table so I have some space, and get into building one of these tiles for you, so you can sort of see how it happens and how I put them together. So here we are, guys, with the closed, one of the tiles in its package, enclosed in its package. So we're going to take this out. I'm going to show you how it comes when it's unassembled, and then I'm going to quickly assemble it. So some of the stuff that you can use, this is what I'm using today. You don't have to use this stuff, you can use super glue as well. But I'm using Gorilla Wood glue, and it's thick enough to hold everything together, and it dries pretty fast. It's pretty tacky. It's a nice glue. I enjoyed using it when I was building the other tiles that I have. You could use, if you want a quicker bond, you could use your super glue, but just make sure that when you glue it, it is going to hold and such from there. But it doesn't take long to build these whatsoever, and they're pretty intuitive. On the packaging, when you receive these, it actually comes with a link to their website, which gives you all the instructions and stuff like that that you need to build them. But they're not hard at all. So let's see how this comes together. So you have your parts that you use to connect the tiles together. You have your road piece here, or sorry, sidewalk piece, as well as a secondary sidewalk piece there. You have your road piece in the center here, like so, and then you have your 4 frames, as I may, that you put them together. So I always start off with the frames, and the reason being is because, well, like any house, you need a good foundation, and this is what that is. So literally it is, you have your yes, positive and negative, male and female pieces. I don't know what you want to call them, but like one piece will have the indent, and the other piece will have the tongue and groove, I guess is something else, and they fit snugly together like so. I don't know if I can show you that. Yeah, so just like so. So starting with this, all I do is I grab my Gorilla Glue, I take it. You always want the notches as well facing the table, so they're facing downwards. Everything else is going to slot in. So what I do is I just take my glue, I put a little bit on there, a little bit in the center. It's coming out faster than what I expected, but that's okay, I don't mind. Maybe have some cloths when you're doing this just to wipe up any sort of glue that sort of decides to come out. If you decide to use this Gorilla Glue for your project when you're building these tiles, I do make a suggestion of afterwards either wiping the excess glue down if it's on the outside, or when it dries you can just sort of like shave it off with a knife or a utility knife, something like that, because it will thicken into like a blob or a teardrop type shape. And then that will impede sort of the flushness of your tiles. So anyhow, let's continue with this. So let's next, more Gorilla Glue off there. You don't need much, but just a little bit, and then you insert on that. When I was doing this in the house the other day, I actually had a garbage bag down because I was doing it over my kitchen table, and I think my wife would probably tear me a new one if I ended up gluing her table. It is a antique-like table that, well, our kids have wrecked more than I would, but I don't think she would appreciate the glue all over it. So yeah, so I threw a garbage bag or something like that down. If you got like the self-healing sort of like cutting boards, that would work, or any sort of hobby table like so. Alright, so almost done this frame. As soon as I get the pieces or the corners in. There we go. So that's the basic frame. Okay, so now that's not fully dry yet, and that's okay, because when you start adding the other pieces, it's going to hold it together. So all I'm going to do here is put some glue along this flush edge here, and in the corner on this little nub that's also located. And so what this is where the road goes and sits, and you'll see that the same is on the other side. So I'm just going to glue that up as well. Bam. Make sure your road is facing upwards, because there's nothing on the back side, so it's quite obvious what side goes where. And so I'll line it up on the one board side, and then sort of push the frame, because the frame is not 100% glued in place yet, and the glue hasn't set, so it allows me to sort of move it around as needed. So yeah, so that's going to start holding things together with that piece on there. And that's a good thing about using this Gorilla Glue. Yes, it dries pretty quickly, but also it's not an instant cure, so it gives you some wiggle room if you need to reshape things and such, which I did have to do a couple of times with a couple of pieces. It wasn't anything too bad, but that was it. So next up is the road. It literally is like 6 steps. Road piece is next, and so how these sit is the flush side sits sort of like that, and then the same with the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Gorilla Glue and just apply a bead of it straight down the side here, like so, and then also on the bottom here as well. I'm going to go across this like so, and then down. And I try to sort of squeeze some out so it sits also on the indented parts here as well as the tabs. That way it will sort of adhere everything together, like so. Bam. And because the glue's there, I just line again one corner up first, and then just sort of snap it into place from there. And then, yeah. I'll do the next corner. There we go. And then I'll just start sort of pushing it in, reshaping that if things sort of like popped out a little bit. What you can do as things are setting, if you want to tighten it, you can either use, I know some people have used like elastic bands on like models and stuff like that before. But you could tape it down with like masking tape, so that way it holds it in place as the glue's setting. I didn't do that with mine, and I think it turned out okay. I hope it turned out okay. It looks like it. So, but yeah, this is it. So I'm just going to do another bead here, and then finish off this stuff here. So I'm hoping to get this done in the next few weeks, just through painting and everything. And the painting is going to be the longest process, I think. The building wasn't a long process at all. It took me no time whatsoever to paint this stuff up. And then hopefully I can get these in some of the battle reports and such that I can show off to you guys here on the channel. Because it's a pretty cool board. I love it. I love the modularity of it. And so yeah. Get that on there. Those fit just snug. And so that is your board. That's it. Super done, super easy. So we're going to set that aside and let it dry. If you are concerned about like this glue here, I would just get a little bit of water, which I forgot to bring out with me, and I would just sort of take your finger, dip it in the water, and run it down that crack there. I was showing you the motion without saying anything, but yeah, so I would just, and it will sort of get rid of that glue, but mixing the glue with the water on your finger, it will also help actually seal the wood. So I didn't actually, so I've built one and primed one and started trying my paint scheme on it to see what I want it to do, which I'm going to be doing in another video. I never sealed these pieces or these tiles, but you could. What you could do is you could take like, you know, watered down PVA and you could seal the wood, because these things just absorb paint like that. So when you go to prime it, it's like the paint just absorbs it, and you need that much more primer, I find, when it comes to MDF kits in general. And so I didn't seal the tiles, and it wasn't that bad, but I think if you sealed the tiles a little bit, it would sort of help with the paint going on it and such. But anyhow, that's it, man. That's it. I've built it up. Took me a few minutes. I think like less than 10 to build a tile. And that's with talking and showing you guys and everything else. So, but yeah, so that is it. We'll come back, I guess, with closing thoughts next. So guys, what did you think of that? Those are the tiles, or the battle boards from Battle Kiwi. So thank you, Battle Kiwi, for sending those to me. I'm sorry that it's taken so long to get them done. But yeah, so each week I'm going to probably do like a little bit of a progress report type thing, showing off the progress. So next week, the idea is to go from this board, or style board, so just plain wood built, to the starting process of painting. Pretty easy to do, really, but we'll get into that next week. Anyhow, guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ignite your hobby.